4 golf carts snatched from a town square. Officials are ready to consider automatic opening of gates. Seacoast completes purchase of Citizens Bank here in the Villages. Trouble in Middleton again. Middleton man was arrested on a felony charge of theft. Ombudsman reports on the post-bankruptcy status of care at the Village's health. Recreation Director John Rohan announces staffing at pools in the Villages. Wildwood officials raises impact fees and sewer fees to cope with explosive growth. How many holes in one's golf do we get this week? Letters to the editor. This and more coming up. This week's news is brought to you by my YouTube and Patreon members. Welcome, everybody, and thanks for joining us on this week's Villages News Updated. 4 golf carts were snatched at Brownwood and taken for a joyride. One teenager has been arrested as a result of the incident, which occurred in the wee hours this past Saturday, according to the arrest report from the Wildwood Police Department. 4 suspects, including 18-year-old Jaden Robert Nafisher of Coleman, had been at Cody's original Roadhouse at Brownwood when 2 members of the group suggested taking golf carts for a joyride. They found 4 golf carts outside. One of them had a key in the ignition. They used the same key to start up 4 golf carts. Each member of the quartet took a different golf cart. I'm not sure how you take one key to start up every golf cart, because if it's a gas golf cart, my gas golf cart, Yamaha that is, you have to turn the key off to get it out of the ignition, which shuts the motor off. Even if it's an electric cart, you have to shut the key off, which shuts the motor off to get the key out. So somebody explain to me how that works. An officer was entering Brownwood Square from Megason Road when he observed one of the golf carts traveling westbound across Megason Road. The driver, later identified as Nafzinger, ditched the golf cart behind Gators Dockside and fled on foot. Gators Dockside is one of my favorite places to go. He attempted to hide in the bushes by the wooden fence. He was detained and handcuffed. He was transported to Sumter County Detention Center and was asked if he had any contraband. He said he did not have any contraband, but during the search, he was found to be in possession of 2 rounds of .38 caliber ammunition. He is facing charges of vehicle theft, smuggling contraband in a detention center, resisting arrest, and loitering. He was booked at the jail on $9,500 bonds. Did it say how old this guy was? Oh, 18 years old, I guess. Well, he's an adult. They can't do the time, don't do the crime, as they say. Officials are ready to consider automatic opening of gates in the Villages. The project-wide advisory committee agreed in a meeting Monday morning at Seabreeze Recreation Center to look into potentiality, making a radical change to the operation of the gates here in Florida's friendliest hometown. Last month, members of the PWAC and the Amenity Authority Committee, in a rare joint meeting, balked at the idea of spending millions of dollars in equipment. The gates with long-range readers would likely open them for residents' vehicles with encrypted cards and stickers. The rejection came despite months of study and experimentation, which included some of the members of PWAC being equipped with these special devices, allowing them to test the automatic gate opening technology. Residents have long complained about rolling down their windows to wave a card to open the gates. Life is such a bitch. The card offers a feeling of exclusivity, but any motorist can pull up to the gate and push a red button and gain access to the public roads in the villages. Rather than spending money for a long-range readers, PWAC member agreed that changing the way the gates open could be the answer they have been seeking. The gates could change without spending millions of dollars, said Dwayne Johnson, who represents Community Development District 8 on PWAC. In essence, the gates could automatically open for all vehicles. It's called construction mode and is regularly used in the newer areas of the villages. That's true. However, some PWC members are nervous about such a dramatic change. I have a real concern with golf carts and these gates. If we want to do it, we want to proceed cautiously, said Steve Bova, Community Development District 10's PWAC representative. PWAC members agreed timing of the opening of the gates would be crucial to enacting such a plan, which is still in the early discussion stage. I gotta tell you, this is all stupid because most drivers know how to merge in to each other without causing a problem, but they have to come up with all these rules because of the one or two idiots that simply don't know how to drive or don't care. Well, here's an update on the selling of our bank. I call it our bank, the Citizens Bank. Seacoast National Bank has completed its acquisition of Citizens First Bank. Originally, Seacoast had agreed to pay $710 million for Citizens First Bank. However, a press release issued by Seacoast on Wednesday indicated that Seacoast ended up paying $829 million in cash and stock to Villages Bank Corporation, Incorporated, parent company of Citizens Bank. That's just one of the developer's many companies. VBI's deep local relationship and commitment to personalized service align perfectly with Seacoast values, said Charles M. Schaefer, chairman of CEO of Seacoast. Together, we will create even greater value for our customers and shareholders while building on a solid foundation to support continued growth and success across the communities we serve. Man, did you pay anybody a lot of money to write that for you? That's good. Citizens First Bank was operating 19 branches with deposits of approximately $3.5 billion in total consolidation net loans and approximately $1.3 billion as of June 30th, 2025, according to the Seacoast press release. Seacoast officials have indicated that the future growth of the villages, combined with Citizens First Bank's stellar reputation, made it a perfect fit. Seacoast, which dates back to 1926 in Stewart and survived the hardscrabble days of the Depression, found the people of Citizens First Bank shared the same set values. I'm not going to read any more. If you want to know any more, go back on some of the other news reports where I talk about the whole idea of selling the bank. And there's a lot of questions. Why now? Why are they selling the bank now? Middleton. You're so young and dumb. A Middleton man has been arrested on a warrant charging him with felony grand theft. Bradley Brunetto, 42, who lives in the family community near the village's charter school campus at Middleton, was taken into custody Tuesday afternoon at his business, Bradley's Golf Carts, located at 417 South Main Street, according to the arrest report of Wildwood Police Department. The warrant had been issued in Hillsborough County. Brunetto booked at the Sumter County Detention Center, where he was being held without bond. And that's all they say about it. I'll tell you what, Middleton being a family area, I warned you. We've had many, many family areas here. 10 years later, look what's in them. Look what's in them. It's okay. As long as there's a school next door, I'm sure you feel safe. An ombudsman, I'll tell you what, I have so much trouble with that word. You guys try saying that. An ombudsman has filed a report on the post-bankruptcy status of ongoing patient care in the villages. The sudden announcement in July that the Villages Health has filed bankruptcy in the wake of a $360 million Medicare coding discrepancy, a lot of people like to call it $360 million Medicare coding fraud, shocked the many patients at the healthcare provider, which had pledged to reintroduce an old-fashioned Marcus Welby level of personalized care when it was unveiled here in Florida's friendliest hometown. In spite of the bankruptcy filing, the Villages Health has continued serving patients, and in August, Suzanne Richard was appointed as an ombudsman to ensure that patients were receiving quality care. Nobody talked to me. Matter of fact, I got a doctor appointment tomorrow. I had one last week. Nobody talked to me. I doubt some of these things that we actually hear has any validity to them at all. Richard, a longtime healthcare professional, has submitted her first report since being named ombudsman. Jeez, I wish they came up with another name. She visited 5 primary care clinics, one of the 2 specialty clinics in the villages. She conducted interviews with doctors, nurses, clinic managers, and billing coders, as well as the chief compliance officer at the Villages Health. She also interviewed patients. How many patients? Just curious. She found that the clinic physician can care up to 18 patients a day, but usually cares for about 12 to 14 patients on an average day. Patients said they continue to be pleased with the quality of care they are receiving at the Villages Health. Staffing levels have remained unchanged since the filing of the bankruptcy, as reported by staff during interviews, and in some cases, there was an increase in staffing. There has been a few resignations due to a normal course in business. Richard wrote in the report filed in U.S. bankruptcy court. Humana Centerwell has agreed to pay $68 million to acquire the assets in the wake of the Villages Health bankruptcy. The ombudsman has indicated she will continue to monitor patient care during the transition. Hey, I've got one at Pinellas tomorrow. I think my appointment's at 1 p.m. Meet me there. I'd like to talk to you. The Recreation Director for the Villages has announced a staffing plan will be implemented at the pool in Florida's friendliest hometown. John Rohan, head of the Recreation Department, unveiled a proposal Monday morning before the project-wide advisory committee at Seabreeze Recreation Center. Rohan said the fact-finding mission is aimed at determining whether the belief that outsiders are using the pools in the villages is public perception or reality. Well, I have to go a little bit with John, as much as I hate to say that, because I'm not too sure that I don't think it's a problem everywhere. If there is a problem, I think it's kind of isolated. Rowan has repeatedly presented information to PWC, which oversees amenities south of County Road 466, and the Amenity Authority Committee, which oversees amenities north of County Road 466, showing that the abuse of the pools by outsiders is extremely rare. However, there is a growing refrain from residents who is insisting that outsiders from nearby apartments and elsewhere are dipping into the pools in the villages. They also point to the advertising campaigns by nearby developments, which brazenly suggest that the village's amenities are available for use by those who purchase or rent in neighboring communities. Now, I haven't heard that. Only thing that I have heard from outside apartment areas, and we've got a lot of them, massive apartment communities, is that these squares are open to anybody, and they're more than welcome to go down to the square and listen to the music and eat dinner down there and all the different things that they have. That's true, but that's not a lie. That's true. Anybody can go to these places. I've tried to announce it myself. Anybody watching me right now, if you wonder what it's like to have dinner at any of the country clubs we have here, they're open to the public. Drive your car in there, park it, walk inside, and they'll sit you at a table or the bar or wherever you want to go, and you can have a drink and enjoy the food and kind of get an idea what it's like. They're open to the public. The golf course itself is open to the public, not the executives, but the country clubs are. Call down there. See if they got a tee time on a day you want to play. Find out what time that tee time is, and they'll take you. They'll let you in. But you got to quit barging in here. But good luck on that, Mr. Rohan, on that fact-finding mission. I'd be interested in knowing the truth myself. Be honest with you, though, I don't know if I believe everything that Rohan says, because he works for the developer, and the developer makes money by selling homes, and he doesn't sell homes when bad reports come in. I'm not sure he'll give out the worst of reports to the developer about outsiders using our stuff. I don't know, but I'm just saying, I'm leery of it. Wildwood commissioners gave final approval Monday night to the city's $280 million budget for the year 2025-2026 fiscal year, which begins October 1. They also approved impact and sewer fee hikes. A large portion of the budget is funding for a new wastewater treatment plant and upgrades to the old one. That project is expected to cost about $150 million, and Wildwood will issue revenue bonds this fall to cover most of the cost. Commissioners approved a property tax rate of $2.83 per 1,000 assessed value. You guys already know my feeling about that assessed value. It is the same rate as this year, but considered a tax increase because it is higher than the rollback rate of $2.70. The rollback rate is the amount needed to collect the same revenue as the prior year, not including new construction. Wildwood expects to collect $21.9 million next year from property taxpayers, which funds about half of the operating budget. I do hope that DeSantis gets it passed through. How much of it gets passed through, how it gets tweaked, I don't know. But you know that our governor here is trying to get a bill passed to where it does away with property taxes. Now, they're going to tweak that somehow, some way. Everybody's 70 years old and older, maybe. I don't know. But they're going to tweak it because I have always said, and I've been talking about this for 30 or 40 years by watching my parents struggle, that anybody over a certain age should not have to pay property taxes, period. Because then they can truly say, I own this property. Right now, you don't. You just pay rent. You may pay cash for the house, and you may have even paid cash for the property that's underneath of that house here in Florida, because there's different ways of buying a house. But you don't truly own it. Because you don't pay them property taxes, they'll take it away from you, and you're gone. I don't agree with that. A golfer suspected of driving under the influence crashed into a golf cart at a country club in the Villages. A woman was in her golf cart this past Sunday afternoon at Orange Blossom Hills Country Club on the historic side of the Villages when a truck backed into her golf cart, according to the rescue report from Lady Lake Police Department. When officers arrived on the scene, the woman pointed to the truck, parked in a handicapped spot at the country club. The woman was not injured. A witness told police that the driver had gone into the country club. When officers located the truck's owner, 66-year-old Kenneth Eugene Matthew Jr., it appeared he had been drinking. The New Jersey native lives in the Lake Sumter Apartments on County Road 466 and Cherry Lake Road. His parents, now deceased, were longtime villagers. Matthew admitted that he had consumed 5 beers on the golf course at the country club. He agreed to take part in field sobriety exercise, but said he has been seeing a doctor about neck and back pain. He performed poorly in the exercises. Matthew provided breath samples that registered .121 and .116 blood alcohol content. He was arrested on a charge of driving under the influence and booked at the Lake County Jail. He was released after posting a $2,000 bond. I would like to have seen them to throw in a parking ticket of some sort for parking his work truck in a handicapped spot. A suspect has been arrested after allegedly stealing a pickup owned by a patient who had been admitted at the hospital in the Villages. What a lowlife. James Dale Wells, 51 of Summerfield, has been arrested on a charge of grand theft of a motor vehicle. He was taken into custody on a warrant of charging him with the crime and booked Tuesday at the Sumter County Detention Center. A man had driven his white Chevrolet pickup to UF Health Spanish Plains Hospital in May and parked it in a northeast parking lot, according to the incident report of Sumter County Sheriff's Office. The man checked himself into the hospital. The pickup disappeared from the hospital parking lot and was reported as stolen. In June, the pickup truck was found in Gadsden County. I don't know where that is. Gadsden, G-A-D-S-E-N, Gadsden County. The men that were in possession of the truck indicated that had obtained it from Wells, who has a long criminal history. They always do. He was arrested in July when he was spotted driving a golf cart on an unauthorized roadway. At the time, he was in possession of fentanyl. The owner of the stolen truck also found that a Chevy Corvette had been stolen from his home in Marion County. He indicated that Wells knew he had been hospitalized. It never ends. Until we start getting serious about this stuff around here, this stuff never ends. Here's a deal for somebody, a little bit of a DIY guy. Sue and I bought many of these houses in our younger day, and this is how we made a little bit of money. A home being flipped in the Villages is carrying a $40,695 deed compliance fine. Don't let that concern you. The home located at 739 Cortez Avenue in the village of El Cortez has been out of compliance since 2022. The home was originally purchased in 1994 by Fred and June Powell. She died in 2019 at age 92. He is also deceased, but it's not clear when he passed away. After their deaths, mold began growing on their home and the utilities were shut off. That mold they're probably talking about is what I call tree mold. That's not the original name. I don't really know what it's called. But it's kind of a greenish looking mold that grows on the side of the house and gets on the shingles. That's not the problem. That's not like black mold that's going to really make you sick or not. That's not it. And as long as it's on the outside of the house, it's not going to affect you. A complaint was received by Community Standards on November 14, 2022 about the mold on the home, overgrown bushes, and dead grass. Now, that's whole different. Dead grass is a problem. You don't want that, not here. The mold was removed, but the lawn remained out of compliance. The case has been on the books for nearly 3 years with a $40,695 in unpaid fines. This past April, the home was purchased for $100,000 by VRMTG Asset Trust of Dallas, Texas. The home is currently listed for sale at $254,900. I'd like to know how VR Mortgage Asset Trust of Dallas, Texas even found out this home even existed here and was even for sale. That's the secret to all this. You have to find this stuff out. How did they do it? However they did it, you can do it. Usually a banker has a buddy or two that's a contractor or an investor of some kind. And because they work in the good old boy system here, a bank's not allowed to sell something that's like this for profit. They can't. But they can sell it to their buddy for payoffs or whatever, and then the buddy can slide them a little thank you, something under the table. You get what I'm saying? I mean, it's a good old boy system here, and if you're part of that system, it's a good system. If you're not, so be it. A listing on redfin.com touts recent improvements to the home, including a new roof. That's about 12 to 15 grand. New hot water heater. You don't know how much that is. New carpet. Carpet's all over the place when it comes to price. Good, better, best. New kitchen appliances. It also mentions fresh sod in both the front and backyard. Could be some serious money. Not sure what they got, what kind of grass they got. Not sure what company they got it from. But the labor of replacing the sod can be fairly substantial. The unpaid fines are on the agenda for consideration by the Villages Center Community Development District Board of Supervisors. See, that's why I was saying don't let that bother you, because if you bring the house into compliance and do it and you're the new owner, there's a real good chance that the Board of Supervisors will forgive the fines. But if you find a home like this and you can get in there, especially here in the Villages, that could be a hot item. If it were me, and if I was younger, I'd like to find these homes myself and jump all over them. An unlicensed driver from Honduras was arrested after a traffic stop at the entrance of the village of Osceola Hills. A deputy observed 30-year-old Luis Ricardo Peraza Valencia driving a dark pickup truck north on Morris Boulevard at 8:30 p.m. Friday, according to the Rescue Department Sumter County Sheriff's Office. The headlight on the driver's side of the vehicle was not working, leading to a traffic stop at the entrance to the village of Osceola Hills. The deputy asked Peraza Valencia for his license and was given a Honduras ID instead. Dispatch advised that he had no license issued to him out of the United States. Peraza Valencia was subsequently arrested on a charge of operating a motor vehicle without a valid license. He was transported to Sumter County Sheriff's Office and released after posting a $150 bond. I can only assume before you asked that he's legal. Who knows around here? U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement placed a hold on an unlicensed Summerfield teen who was stopped for speeding by 17 miles per hour. A deputy spotted 18-year-old Anthony Ariel Riviera Rodriguez speeding in a silver Honda passenger car in Wildwood around 7 a.m. Monday, according to the Rescue Department Sumter County Sheriff's Office. Radar confirmed he was going 77 miles per hour in a 60-mile-per-hour zone. I thought he was going 77 in the Villages here, leading to a traffic stop at State Road 44 and County Road 243. When asked for his driver's license, Riviera Rodriguez stated he tried taking the driver's test a few months ago, but failed. He instead handed over a Florida ID card due to never having been issued a license. A check of his driving history proved this to be true. The native of Honduras was subsequently arrested on charges of operating a vehicle without a valid license. He was transported to Sumter County Detention Center, where a bond was set at $500, and ICE put a hold on him. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement put a hold on a Leesburg man who was stopped without a license in Wildwood. A deputy observed 33-year-old Miguel Riaz-Guillen driving a blue Chevrolet pickup truck eastbound on State Road 44 at 6:55 a.m. Wednesday, according to the arrest report from the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. A deputy noticed a tag light did not fully illuminate the license plate, leading to the traffic stop at the intersection of County Road 229 and Wildwood. Riaz-Guillen advised that he did not have a driver's license and handed over a Mexican ID instead. Dispatch then confirmed he did not have a license. Riaz-Guillen was arrested on charge of operating a motor vehicle without a valid license. He was transported to the Sumter County Detention Center with a bond set at $150. He also had a hold placed on him from Pennsylvania and Colorado, as well as ICE. An uninsured driver was caught on radar traveling 92 miles per hour in a 35 miles per hour zone. Where I'm from, that's immediate jail time. Anthony Omar Valdez, 21 of Brooksville, was at the wheel of a vehicle that was passing another vehicle at about 5 p.m. Wednesday on County Road 702 in Center Hill. According to a arrest report from the Sumter County Sheriff's Office, the deputy used radar to confirm that Valdez was traveling 92 miles per hour. He don't look like he cares by his picture. During the traffic stop, Valdez said he thought he was about maybe 70 miles per hour. Valdez had no proof of insurance. He was arrested on a charge of reckless driving and ticketed for speeding and no proof of insurance. Valdez was booked at Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $500 bond. My mind says you're going to go to jail. You're going to stay there till the judge has time to see you. No bond. Okay, let's go to everybody's favorite. Once again, letters to the editor. To the editor, from my understanding, each home in the boundaries of the village's property had a bond of at least $30,000. Not true. You get up around Spanish Springs area and stuff like that, it was far below $30,000. I had a $30,000 bond down here by Brownwood. So you can see, you got Lake Sumter between me and Spanish Springs. You got Spanish Springs. I'm not even sure they even had a bond in the historical area. And then you go all the way up north beyond that, and you have Nancy Lopez area up there. And I'm not sure what kind of bond they had up there either, but too many years ago. But not everybody had $30,000 bonds. I also understand that the music is provided by the municipality governing the area. The music here is paid for one or two ways. It seems to me that the villages can apply for some kind of a tourism grant. Or they have in the past. I'm not sure what it's called, but it's a tourism grant that the state gives people if you entertain tourism or cause a lot of tourism in your area, that you get these grants to help you pay for things. What things? I don't know that either. I'm not into this, but that one time they was getting some kind of money from a tourism grant from the state of Florida, and that money was being used to help pay for some of the entertainment and music at the town squares. I don't know if they still get that or not, but I do know that the vendors down at every square, I don't care what square it is, restaurants, stores, shopping areas, ice cream parlors, whatever it may be, at any of these squares, they all pay premium on their rent to even be in a square. But then on top of that, they pay like an entertainment tax, I'll call it. And that entertainment tax goes in a till for entertainment, the bands. And so the businesses down there actually pay, I think, almost all the money for bands. I'm not too sure if they still get part of that entertainment tourism tax money anymore. They might, but you need to check into that. The question is, taxes pay for the music while villagers paid for the square. So who's right? That's sent in by Winston Schuler from the village of Santo Domingo. All squares is private property owned by the developer or one of his companies. That's how he trespass you. That's not public. He lets public have access to it. He invites the public to come down there and dance and listen to the music as long as you behave yourself. But at any given point, the developer or one of his companies or somebody representing his companies can trespass you because that's private property. He owns all the squares. Thanks for your letter to the editor, though. I appreciate it. To the editor, It appears that Community Watch really doesn't do anything for our community. Oh, well, you're uneducated. You've never done it, I know. I can tell by that first line there, you have never done Community Watch. You've never been to a meeting. You've never been to any of their training. You don't know. It's true they drive around, but they don't report any deed restrictions. That's not their job. Matter of fact, they're restricted to not do that. They can't confront anybody. They can't stop anything going on. If they see a guy driving down the road 90 miles an hour, they cannot pursue him. They're not the police. Restrictions that keep our community safe and compliant. Why are they driving around? Sometimes at high speed and look straight ahead. There are a lot of deed restrictions not being adhered to. Well, then call it in. That's your job. You know this is a complaint-based community. I think that's what they actually call it. That if you see anything out of the ordinary, out of compliance, really, really bad, whatever's going on, according to your deed restrictions, know what they are, you're to call it in. And you give them, then they'll send somebody out. They'll take a picture of whatever it is that you're complaining about, and they turn that in with a report. Once it's been verified that that is a legit report, then they send that letter of acknowledgement. You got to get this thing taken care of. They'll mail it to them. But your Community Watch guy is not the police of your neighborhood. Maybe let them police the amenities to check IDs. Well, they can do what they want to do with them. I mean, it's like any other job like that. They can add to their job. So we're going to start doing this starting next year. We're going to add on to what you're doing. And they can do that. They could check the ID cards. They could do that if they wanted to. I'm going to say that they're not going to, but they could. It will give them something useful to do. Now, see, that's just a snide remark where you say give them something useful to do. Like you think they're out there, they're being totally not useful. I don't know if you can do it or not, but I would suggest that you get a hold of the Community Watch and the gate guard. They're all the same. They're all the same thing, really. They work under the same plan, so to speak. That's sent in by Roy Capola from the village of Liberty Park. I know Liberty Park. That's across the street from the poop factory. To the editor, the St. Augustine sod that the villages put down for the houses built south of State Road 44 have 70% of its homes' lawns with cinch bugs, which spreads from lawn to lawn. We replaced all of our sod after moving in, which had grass diseased with the bugs. The entire area had dead grass. Our next door neighbor also replaced all the sod and had the same problem. The home on the other side of us has owners who are never there, and the bugs are devouring all of their lawn, which will soon spread to our property. Once again, you need to call in for your deed restrictions and everything and register that complaint. They'll go take a picture of that yard, and if it's the way you say it is, they will get a hold of the owner and tell them they got to get it fixed, or you got to get it done within the next 10 days, let's say. I'm just throwing that out there. Or fines will accumulate on this home. That's how you got to do it. The villagers should change the type of grass they use when building a home and instead use zoysia grass. Oh, you want to know about zoysia grass? Come to District 10. That's where I'm at. We're all zoysia grass. Ask us how we feel about it. Why should a homeowner have to do this after buying a home? That's because you're not listening to anybody. I've talked about the grass problem here for years now. Here's the biggest thing about grass when you buy a new home. Your grass in your yard, out front and back and side, is only guaranteed from the time you sign that paper for, everybody, 30 days. That's it. You see a problem out there, you better jump right on it, because 30 days later, you ain't got no warranty on that grass anymore or how it's installed. You're done. And it's very expensive to get grass replaced. So that's the first thing I tell people all the time when you buy this house and sign that paper. Go check out your grass, especially on a rainy day. Go out and make sure you don't have no high spots. Make sure water's not puddling up. Get all that registered and get it called in, because you got to do it within the first month. Zoysia grass. Well, here's the problem with zoysia. There's good things and bad things about zoysia. Good thing about zoysia, supposedly, I couldn't prove this to you, is they say it doesn't need near as much water to stay green. Well, I can tell you all summer long, you can ask Sue. She's always telling me, there's a dead spot over here. There's a dead spot over there. You need to turn the water on, because I don't try to water my yard all that much. It runs the water bill too high, but I do turn it on. But I've been changing my sprinkler heads off and on here and there to water-saving type sprinkler heads, and it does seem to help. When you hire a guy to mow your yard, he's not going to mow just zoysia grass. He's going to mow anybody that wants to pay him the money to mow their yard. Now, I don't mean just here in the villages. These guys that mow yards, they don't mow just here. They might mow some houses in Wildwood. They may mow some houses up in Lady Lake somewhere. And all these grasses have different things in them. You know, weeds, weed seeds, all kinds of stuff. That gets into the mower blade deck underneath that mower. Now he comes to your house with this trailer. He backs off of that trailer with this mower, starts it up and mows your grass. Any seeds that he may have collected underneath his belly of that mower deck is now in your yard. And they're going to start growing next year, or maybe this year. You have to get those things in your head because there's no such thing as a perfect grass hair. They all have their problems. But thanks for the letter to the editor. I appreciate it. Okay, I think that's going to do it for this week. I hope you enjoyed this week's news. I know it's a little bit all over the place, from taxes to illegals to letters to the editor. We didn't have any holes in ones of golf this week, but that's okay. The snowbirds will be heading back here soon, and the holes in ones will start probably bouncing back. But in the meantime, I'll just simply say, if you're not a Patreon member, please join my Patreon page. And on Patreon, I'll send you a Discord link. And that's where all my members are at, is on that Discord link. And nobody gets on that Discord link except my Patreon members. I mean, I try to keep the family small so we get to know one another. I think there's a total of something like 350 or so on there now, half of which their names are on there, but they never go to Discord. I don't understand that. They're on Discord. They applied for Discord. They got Discord, but then they never get on Discord. And there's things on there. I know as of today, Linda posted something new on Discord for just the Discord people. She's not going to put it on Patreon. And if they don't go to Discord, they're going to miss it. And it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool. And then, of course, I think Sunday, she posted something on Discord we're going to be doing on Discord. And if you're not on Discord, you're going to miss it. And so that's why I keep telling people, go to Patreon, and I'll send you a Discord link. Get on Discord. You don't have to talk on it every day. But if you want to know really of what we're doing, maybe where we're all going to meet sometime for lunch, or we're going to, whatever, that's where you got to go. You got to go to Discord. Support my sponsors. You have Patreon. That's one way of supporting my channel. You have Ira Miller. That's another way of supporting my channel. He's a sponsor of my channel. You have Nova Filters. That's Brad and his dad. They install these things and they support all this stuff on here on Nova Filters. They do everything. They've been supporting my channel for a long time. Good people. And I know Dad's a villager. I'm not sure about Brad, but I know his dad is also a villager. He lives here, so he's one of us. So with that being said, I'm going to get out of here and just say, be well, stay safe, stay alert, be alert,
and don't leave that key